What is up, everyone? It's Ohan, it's Friday, and this week we're talking about how we handle shame. I have a lot of things that are broken this week, including a part of my body. So I have this lovely thing on right now. Also, I'm wearing underwear. Hello. Um, yeah, I had to get a little surgery done on my toe, and the puns are just, I mean, so many puns. Lower surgery, bottom surgery, surgery below the belt. But it's actually not what you think it is. It's my toe. That's why I'm sitting on the ground. The feelings I have about shame, as expected, are complicated. Uh, I think what becomes really difficult to unpack about shame for a lot of people is how much of it is influenced by society telling me what to do, how much is myself just giving myself a hard time, and am I giving myself a hard time because society is being like, hey, you're gross, you should give yourself a hard time, so it's like all of these kind of forces that are combining into essentially you feeling really shitty about yourself for most likely something you can't control or something you don't really feel the need to control because it's just what it is. I definitely remember being around like 15, 16 and thinking like, oh, I like women, and then feeling a lot of shame around that. And I just felt like it was gross, it was fucked up. Obviously, words I would use now are like internalized homophobia, right? That's what was going on. I was feeling really bad about myself because of a way that society was telling me to be, and I wasn't that. And so if I wasn't that, thing that I should be, then anything else should be wrong or should feel wrong. It's really powerful how oftentimes the things that make us most shameful when we're learning about ourselves and when we're growing up can like transform into things that we're really actually proud of and like really actually grateful that of all the new perspective it's given us about the world and about people and about difference. I've come a really long way in terms of the shame I feel towards myself, but I would be fooling us all if I said I never felt it or I never had any that I had to deal with or unpack or something. So first, the shame was definitely about my sexuality, and it affected me really negatively. I mean, I was so ashamed and I felt so seriously disgusting, like literally disgusting, that I felt the need. Trigger warning. I'm not really going to talk about it, but I'm going to mention self-harm. Really, I felt so ashamed and disgusted by myself that I felt the need to harm myself because of it. I'm not going to go into the ways in which I did, but it was not good, as most self-harm things are not good. So, I mean, that was the degree, the level, or the power that shame had over me. What made me feel less ashamed was meeting other people like me. And that really started when I started volunteering at a bookstore where there were a lot of queer people around and a lot of different identities within the LGBTQ spectrum. And I started feeling a lot better about myself. I made friends, and that also made me feel a lot better about myself. And there was the coming out as trans to myself. And I had to unpack all that shame. I definitely did feel ashamed in a way that was like, I feel like I'm letting down my parents, I feel like I'm letting down people around me, I feel like I'm going to be unlovable, I feel like my body's going to be gross, I feel like my body is gross, like, I had all of these feelings about myself, and it's interesting how I feel like, my therapist likes to talk about parts of ourselves a lot, and so it's like there's this logical part of me that's like, why would you think any of those things about you? Like, you're wonderful, you're a great human, like, stop thinking such shitty things about yourself. But then there's this other part, this shameful part, that really convinces you of all these things, and yeah, it's fucking sad. And I think the how I handle shame is like trying to make that separate and be like, yeah, these things do exist, this is a part of me, but I have other parts that are really proud of myself and other parts that are really happy about the direction of my life. So it makes it a little bit easier to cope with all the shameful parts, or all the messages that the shame is telling me. Like Val was saying too, like even as time goes on and you feel like, oh, I'm not ashamed anymore to be trans, or I'm not ashamed anymore to be gay, like there are kind of instances that come up that I don't even realize, I don't even expect, and I'm just like, whoa, do I still carry this shame around me? Like an example was I was in an Uber going home, and whatever, some drivers are more talkative than I would like, and he was asking me like, do I have a girlfriend? And I was like, oh no, I don't have a girlfriend. And then he was like, well, where are you going? Are you going to your girlfriend's house? What am I going to say? Like, no, I'm going to my boyfriend's house. And then it was like, am I ashamed that I'm gay? And then I was like, not really. I also just don't feel like this taxi driver needs to know about my life. There's also a very real safety element. Like, I don't want to just go around telling everybody I'm trans and I'm gay or queer or whatever because I'm not ashamed. It's like, yeah, I'm not ashamed, but I'm also, like, looking out for myself, and I don't want to put myself in a dangerous situation. It's not that I'm ashamed of my partner, and it's not that I'm ashamed of my sexuality. It's more of just, like, the way that society operates. It's like sometimes I get worried or like internalized shame about the ways that I'm different and about the ways that that difference is going to be met by other people. I don't know if any of that made sense. Another thing too for me is like I live in New York City, and it's really quote quote normal to be different in this place, and so sometimes I forget that like not everywhere is New York, and then like I'll say things and people get really uncomfortable, and I'm just like, oh, I haven't felt shame about that in a while, but here we are again, taking a trip down memory lane, you know? So it can kind of pop up unexpectedly, even when you think you've overcome it. How I deal with it, I mean, I know my partner reads a lot of self-help books, and he shared some with me. As far as how I deal with it, yeah, mostly reading things, lots of button poetry on YouTube, like Andrea Gibson, and meeting people, friends who have internalized and dealt with a lot of the same monsters that I have. It can be really healing. There is something to be said about knowing that somebody else is going through something that you're going through can make you feel 100 times less shitty about that thing. I posted something in this like top surgery show and tell group that was like, learning from my top surgery experience and learning to make space for conflicting emotions. You can be proud and shameful at the same time, or like you can be insecure and also confident at the same time. Like they're not mutually exclusive emotions. For a long time, I was feeling so much shame that I didn't even know that's what it was called. I think that was like the darkest part of the whole thing, was like feeling things you couldn't even name, and you can't really address things that you can't name. So it's like, at the very least, at least you can name your shame, you can call it out, and you can be like, yeah, that's what this is. And I hope just work with others around you, or whether it's online or, you know, in your immediate whatever place that you live, to meet other people, to talk about it. Talking about it is really good. Writing about it, just expressing it in some way. It doesn't always have to be in words. It could be in, you know, it could be a music expression. It could be a physical expression, like exercise. Like any way to like get it out is, I think, how I deal with it, and what's helped me. So I don't know. I hope that was helpful. I hope y'all have a good weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.